West Tennessee, 1863. Nathan Bedford Forrest,
A man with no formal military training, but just a predator's raw instinct for terrain, is tearing the Union's Western war to shreds. Garrisons surrender on a rumor. Railroads run only by his permission. He's a ghost the Union Army can't catch. Now let's change one thing and see how it plays out. That fall, a Union blockade ship in the Gulf pulls a man out of the open sea. The Army writes him down as a contract scout, even though the man looks like he hasn't seen a barber in 20 years, let alone a rifle. They have no idea they just hired the strategist who broke Troy with a wooden horse. And Forrest's entire style of warfare runs on horseflesh. The first time anyone notices the new scout, Forrest's column is riding hard toward an undefended depot at Eastport. They pull up short in the dark. Across the river sits a Union corps that shouldn't exist. Hundreds of campfires burn at perfect military intervals. Painted logs rest on wagon wheels, casting massive cannon silhouettes against the tents. Forrest rarely retreats, but the math does not favor him tonight. The truth is, there is no army across that river. Just 40 campfire details, 6 drummer boys, 30 logs, and an old Greek who once convinced a city that a beach was abandoned. It took him 2 days to build the illusion. Headquarters tries to promote him immediately. Instead, he asks for a ledger. On the first page, he writes a single number that leaves every officer in the room scratching their heads. 14,000. That's his count of the usable horses within Forrest's reach, saddles, remount depots, and breeding farms across 3 river valleys. Odysseus saw in a week what Union generals missed for 3 years. Forrest's force isn't just a strategic cavalry unit, it's a herd with rifles. A cavalryman without a spare mount is just infantry and boots. The best way to fight Forrest isn't to target his men, it's to kill his horses. To defeat Forrest, you first have to outlie him. And Forrest is kind of a master liar. That spring at Cedar Bluff, he paraded his only 2 cannons in a continuous loop over a ridgeline until an exhausted Union colonel counted 15 guns and surrendered 1,600 men to just 600. When word of the fake army at Eastport reaches Forrest, he doesn't swear. He just gets quiet, looks toward the sky, and mutters, "Somebody over there plays the game too." Winter turns the campaign into a war of ghosts. Forrest spreads fake numbers. Odysseus teaches Union commanders how to see through the smoke. Don't count the fires, count the dung, the churned mud at the river crossings, and the physical evidence you can't fake. The cheap tricks stop working. Forrest adapts instantly, shifting from fake numbers to fake intent. He telegraphs a raid at one town to completely strip another, capturing Union City while the Federal Relief Force is busy chasing a rumor 60 miles away. Odysseus strikes back. He allows a Confederate scout to capture a courier bag containing a detailed, completely fabricated Union remount schedule. Forrest's brigades fall for the bait. They expect a slow, vulnerable horse convoy moving down a narrow, sunken road toward a river crossing. A dangerous spot with high banks, soft mud, and only one way in or out. When the canvas comes off the targeted wagons, there are no horses. Just 2 hidden mountain howitzers loaded with canister shot. The real danger wasn't the enemy's weapons, but getting caught in that bottleneck. Forrest manages to fight his way out, as he always does, but it costs him 300 horses left dead in the mud. In Odysseus's ledger, that's the only line that matters. Then comes the pivot. The massive remount hub at Okolona feeds Forrest's entire horse reserve. It sits too far south to take by direct force, so Odysseus leans into the dark art he swore off after Troy. 60 Union soldiers in captured gray uniforms ride south disguised as a returning Confederate detail. They carry forged papers, doctored brands, and Mississippi drawls practiced for 3 weeks by an Ohio sergeant. They spend 2 days inside the depot, completely invisible because their routine is flawless. On the 3rd night, they drive 900 horses right out the front gates, and the Confederate guards actually help them herd the animals out. Not a single man lost. 900 mounts gone. But every clean victory leaves a dirty bill, and the army doesn't pay it. Within a month, rumors spread across 3 states. Yankees are riding in our uniforms. The fragile, unwritten courtesy keeping the occupation somewhat civilized completely breaks down. Partisans hang 2 actual Confederate quartermasters as suspected spies. Friendly farmhouses open fire on anyone riding a horse. The uniform no longer offers protection. Odysseus spent that local trust the same way he spent the wooden horse. The bill lands on Ruth Canfield, a Unionist widow on the Duck River who has been guiding Odysseus's scouts since her husband died at Shiloh. After Okolona, her neighbors connect her visitors to the raid and burn her barns to the ground. Odysseus finds her standing in the ashes. For the first time in 2 lifetimes, he admits it. This was mine. Ruth keeps guiding for him anyway. That's the heaviest part. Forrest's next move is brilliant. Realizing the Union is hunting his herd rather than his men, he dissolves the reserve into the general population. 2 horses on this farm, 3 with that miller, a few hidden with preachers and widows from Corinth to the Alabama line. The reserve vanishes like salt in water. There is no depot left to raid. To stop him now, the Union will have to strip every farm horse in 3 states, making war on survival itself, which is exactly what Odysseus' strategy has made inevitable. November 1864 brings Forrest's massive raid on Johnsonville. To execute a strike that size, Forrest has to call his hidden herd back in. The horse columns swell again, and a third of his horses are stamped with U.S. brands. Odysseus spent 8 months losing Union horses on purpose. He left branded stock scattered across farms and riverbanks for locals to pick up. Every animal carried a permanent U.S. mark. When Forrest rallied the region for his massive strike on Johnsonville, Odysseus' scouts didn't need spyglasses anymore. They just followed the government iron stamped into the mud. Forrest burned the depot at Johnsonville, but the victory was a setup. Knowing exactly where the retreat was heading, Odysseus laid ambushes at 5 different river crossings. Forrest fought his way through, but the retreat was a meat grinder, costing him far more horses than the raid yielded. The machine runs on its own now. Union cavalry sweeps county by county, using Odysseus' tally books to strip every farm of anything that can pull a plow. It is militarily flawless. He drew the blueprints, the army simply executes them. By spring, General Wilson's massive cavalry force, riding mounts fed by those very farm sweeps, corners Forrest at Selma and breaks his command. The war ends, and Forrest tells his men to return home. The countryside is ruined, facing planting season with no livestock left to till the land. Meanwhile, the Union Army is stuck with holding pens of surplus horses it refuses to feed. The war consumed 1 million animals. The peace has no use for the survivors. The sound ones are auctioned off. The broken ones are shot. After the surrender, Odysseus musters out and heads to the army corrals at Nashville. Acres of surplus horses stand knee-deep in spring mud. He walks the lines for days, searching for a single gray mare. She was his original mount. She carried him through the early days of the war, until he used her as bait, slapping her flank down a rural lane so a local farm would take in a branded horse. That was the day he proved he knew the human cost of his strategy. He just chose to let everyone else suffer it. On the 3rd day, he finds the gray in the coal pen, condemned to be shot because of a lame hind leg. Her price tag is $4. He hands over the money. It's an absurd, useless trade. A $4 token for a man who ruined 3 states, burned a widow's home, and starved an entire region. It isn't redemption. There's no word for it. It's simply the final move of a strategist who has run out of clever ideas. You can't pay the debt, but you hand over what you have left. He walks her out of Nashville on a lead rope, heading east toward the ocean at a lame horse's pace. People say he built a horse once, 60 feet tall, and a city died for it. His last one was 14 hands high, lame, and he walked beside it.
This was something I came up with last night, and honestly, I kind of liked how it played out. I tried to keep the military dynamics as historically accurate as possible, but if I missed a tactical detail, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. Maybe next time we'll talk about what would happen if Japan had developed nukes for America. Maybe not.